Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today is Tuesday, June 12, 2012. This is the InfoWars Nightly News, and I'm your host, Aaron Dykes.
Tonight, more troubling signs of an economic collapse as the EU discusses limiting withdrawals from ATM machines. Then, the people of North Dakota go to the polls to decide if the state should abolish property taxes, a measure predictably opposed by the State Chamber of Commerce, agribusiness, government unions, and the politicians. And of course, the establishment media is right there to demonize the Measure 2 proposal. Plus, a $175 million drone crashes in Maryland. And Adam Kokesh visits Aaron Dykes via video Skype. But we had to bleep out much of the mother conversation. That's up next on the InfoWars Nightly News.
Tonight in the news, the European Union is planning a police state-type lockdown. Kurt Nimmo has the story about how European Union apparatchiks are planning currency controls in the event that Greece leaves the euro ahead of their vote coming up next week on June 17th. It is basically a scare tactic, but also another excuse for greater control. It's all being coordinated, of course, at the European Commission level. They're recommending everything from clamping down to ATMs and more. It's, of course, also in the Associated Press and other big wire news services. EU movement of money and people can be limited, while the EU discusses, quote, limiting ATM withdrawals. On the one hand, this is the kind of bank holiday stuff Gerald Celente and other economic experts have been talking about for literally years now. On the other hand, it is what can we do to the people to make them not want countries to leave the Europe? It's to turn public tide against going against the EU, which is obviously authoritarian. They're openly so, and they're sending a signal to smaller nations not to buck the system, just to accept the austerity, accept the wage controls and everything else that comes with it. Well, what does that have to do with new border checks in European countries where they purposefully open up the borders but now want to close them back down? It's all very interesting. That's brewing as they wait to see if the Syriza party, the left-leaning, far left-leaning Greek party, will dominate the next election. Even if they're a strong second, it still may lead to renegotiation of the IMF deal that they've got going on there and more. Something to watch for. Of course, Italy just had a bank holiday yesterday. Spain is right in the middle of its big bailout deal. None of this is going to solve the problem other than to implement the austerity that the IMF, that the European Union Commission, and the other technocrats who converge around Bilderberg want. It's no coincidence this is all happening just after that big meeting. Also, towns in Ireland where they're lined up for the bailout are going back to old currency. Not only does Greece have the drachma ready to go, even Germany has the Deutschmark printed up just in case things go totally haywire. Meanwhile, on the war front in Syria, Russia is sending new attack helicopters to Syria. They've already sent them all kinds of equipment. Russia has its only big military base in the Middle East on the Mediterranean Sea right there in